Alright, now it's about time that we actually get into the real discussion of this playlist, the title of the playlist, the derivatives, right? What we have learned so far is actually how to find the slope of a curved line. That is going to be immensely important, and functions in previous videos. And what we had in previous video was something like this. We had taken a curved line and then chose 2 points along x-axis so very close to each other. Actually x2 is a point which is x1 plus a value very small value, right? So and then corresponding values of, I'll stop calling it y now. Y1 is basically f of x1, a function of x1, and this is f of x2, right? So it's just a point of these are just those points right there. It's basically y2 and y1, but I'll stop calling it that. And if I were to zoom in this region, if I were to take this point, and actually for the ease I have actually drawn them separately. This in fact is also in itself a zoomed version. A completely unzoomed version of this would look just like a point. That's all you will be seeing, over here. X2 over here and over, it's just the same one single point. Anyway, but the already zoomed in version, if I zoom further, it's going to look like this. That this point right here is your x2 comma f of x2, that is y2 basically, and x1 comma f of x1. And now actually the 2 points more or less look like, in the zoomed version, look like a line, and now it really makes sense to really talk about the slope of this line by using our good old y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, if I could do that. Except this time I'll be writing it as f of x2 minus f of x1 divided by x2 minus x1. That's like your y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The same thing it is. Right. And actually I want to talk a little more about this right here. This very small value of x, right? So I can actually write, we call this distance between x1 and x2 is so very small that such a small change, I've been talking about this very small value that you'll be adding to x and then call it x2, right? That small value is usually delta is represented by delta is used to represent a change, right? Delta x would be change in x. This actually x is changing from x1 to x2, yeah, but this change is so very small that I'm going to use a different symbol for that. We'll call it dx, right? So this dx is the small, very small value of x, right? So that distance right there is dx. So if you actually look at it, your x1, now I can actually call it just some value of x, and x2 now I can call it as x plus a very 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 small value dx, and from here on I'm going to use these values for x1 and x2, right? I hope you get that. And the corresponding values of y, or function would be f of x1, or just f of x, because now we are calling it this, right? And the corresponding value of the function over here would be f of, not x2, x plus dx. So there goes, that's what you'll have, right? And this brings me to a very interesting discussion. Now please listen to this part carefully, right? As you already know, this, I'll just rewrite these terms here. I'll just to one last time remind you that this right here is nothing but your x1, this right here is nothing but like your x2, this right here is your y1, and this right here is your y2. And do not forget that your good old slope expression, you can easily find. And now I hope before I get into slope, I hope by now you have you're convinced to some extent, or not some extent, you have convinced that actually I can in fact find slope of a curve this way, but actually different points of the curve will have different slopes. Yeah, I give you that. If I do the whatever I did, decreasing the values of between x1 and x2 so much so that you end up getting a point, you can do the same exercise for this point, then slope will be something else. You can do the same thing for this point, slope will be something else. You can do the same thing for this point, slope will be something else. But what I'm trying to say is, you can do this little exercise to in fact find the slope of any point on this line, right? So let's say we have done that exercise for this point right there, and then now getting back at the real discussion, right? The slope, don't forget this, that slope is always y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. all right. So I can in fact still go ahead and write that slope is equal to, except this time I'll use these variables, right? So I'll use a different color for that. If I do that, it's going to be f of x plus dx, that is my y2 basically, f of x plus dx minus f of x, that is y2 minus y1, divided by x2 minus x1. What is x2? x2 is x plus dx. This is x2 minus x1. x1 is basically x right there. Or if I simplify it further, numerator I can't really help but to keep that way, x plus dx itself it will be minus f of x divided by, look at this, x plus dx minus x. So xx gets cancelled and I'll be left with just dx. And now this becomes the expression for my slope. And this is the slope at a given point, x, at a given point x. You can't generally say find something and you call that the slope of the curve. No, slopes will be different. For a given point of x, let's say x equal to 3, for a value of x equal to 3, you want to find slope, go on substituting the values of x as 3. And what to do really with this dx, we are new to this, don't worry about that. As we do I'll give you one or two instances that dx you'll be very clear what to do with that dx there, because dx really is not a number. It's not like dx is 0.1 or 0.01 or 0.001. It's like a very, very small value. We use the word infinitesimally small for that dx. But don't worry, you'll figure it out. But I hope that so far you're getting the idea that I can in fact end up calling this as slope, f of x plus dx minus f of x divided by dx. And in fact, this right here is called the, and this I'm going to be using this word, is called the first principle. This is the first principle of derivative. It's called first principle of derivative. So in fact what you have just found out is nothing but, this right here is nothing but derivative of the function f of x at x equal to the value of x basically. Right, so that's the value of, that's how you find derivative. So derivative is nothing fancy. You can actually always, this right there, you can use this as, I wouldn't call it formula, but yeah, you can use this little method here to find the slope. And in fact by now it must be very clear to you that derivative of a function at a given point is nothing but the slope of that function at that given point. And this is just to getting to know what derivative is. The real derivative is going to be much more interesting than what just this, right? So that's derivative. So when you find derivative of a function, basically you're ending up finding the slope of that function at that given point, is what derivative is. All right, more about derivative now. So derivative, actually we use a symbol. If f of x is the actual function of x, Then for derivative we use this symbol, we use a little f dash of x. This means that you are finding the derivative of the function, of that particular function. And just one little thing, I don't want to be technically wrong here, that what I've been calling it as first principle so far is pretty close to what actually first principle is. And for as far as my discussion in derivative and integrals goes, that first principle works just fine for me, right? Yeah, just to get that clear. Anyway, don't worry, that's first principle itself. Yeah, is equal to what was it? F of x plus dx minus f of x divided by dx, and dx, remember, again is very, very small value. Fine. What do we do with this then? Right now, if you've already been in some way taught derivatives somewhere, then you must have had a bunch of a sort of table that all of us, we teachers, we end up giving you a bunch of a table like that. Like over here, in one column we'll give the function, and in the other column we'll give its derivative. Right over here, some standard functions are like derivative of x to the power n is n into x to the power n minus 1. Derivative of sin x is cos x. Derivative of cos x is minus sin x. And don't worry about all this table and all this, don't worry about all that. But yeah, you must have, if you have learned derivative already to some extent, you will have seen this table right here. Derivative of log x is 1 by x, and derivative of e to the x is e to the x only. And you must have seen this column, right? And there is a good chance that you have taken your teacher's word for it. You've taken, and even I do the same thing, right? It's not like, but except here, since I have time, I can go ahead and do little extra here. Yeah, so my point is, you must have taken your teacher's word for that derivative of x power n is n into x to power n minus 1, and so on, and derivative of this is that, and this is, and so on and so forth. And in fact, if you have gone ahead in derivatives, you would have used these to evaluate more complicated functions, like, I don't know, sin x plus cos x plus log x into sin x. Such functions you might have even evaluated those. Except, what if I were to not believe all that? How do I know that x to the power n's derivative is going to be this, right? Let's try to evaluate. That was my real excitement about this video actually. So let's get into that, and I'm going to use for that the first principle of derivative, this equation right here. I'll be using that to get at maybe I'll try to evaluate a few values and convince you that it's nothing but basically first principle that will give you the values of derivatives of different functions. Yeah, let's try that. Alright, let's try that. And we already, like I said, know that the derivative of a function f dash of x is f of x plus dx minus f of x by dx. That's your first principle right there. Let's try to find out the derivative of this function. Let's say you don't know anything, and if you have already heard of this, we are trying to get at this expression, that derivative of f dash of x to the power n, basically derivative of x to the power n, should be n into x to the n minus 1. We should kind of get that. And I'll be using a little bit of binomial theorem and whatnot, but yeah, rest assured, whatever law I'll be mentioning, whatever law I'll be using or axioms I'll be using, I'll mention those while I'm doing it. Anyway, let's get into this. Right, so yeah, let's say I'm trying to find the f dash of x for the given function, right? So I'll have to only substitute, but first let me at least substitute the values, right? So if f of x is x to the power n, if f of x, I have f of x, I can easily substitute for f of x as x to the power n. But what would be your f of x plus dx? What do you think would that be? I'm thinking it would just be x plus dx to the n, just in the spirit of x to the power n. Instead of x, you have x plus dx, so whole to the power n is what you'll have, right? So to substitute for f of x plus dx, you'd have x plus dx to the n minus f of x minus f of x, right? So it's simply x to the n divided by dx. That's a relief. It's just dx. Fine. Let's work on this. Is equal to, right? So I can in fact take from the bracket over here, I can take x common and then write it as x to the n into 1 plus dx divided by x whole to the n. It's just the first bracket evaluation, minus x to the n whole divided by dx. All right. Or I'll continue evaluating this. F dash of x is still equal to x to the n into, I'll see what I can do about that bracket in a minute. At least I'll write the rest of the data, rest of the variables, to the n divided by dx. Now there is a little interesting fact here about the binomial theorem. So I'll mention that here. It goes something like this. If you have a function like this, or if you have a algebraic equation like this, 1 plus x divided, I'll not use x, I'll use something else, a by b whole to the n. You have this. I think I have something that looks like that, right? A is dx and b is x and so on. This can in fact be approximately written to be equal to 1 plus na by b, and you're done. It can be written like this. This is there in the binomial theorem, provided there is a condition though. If and only if a is very, very small compared to b. B should be very large compared to a, or vice versa. The numerator over here, this right here, should be very small compared to the denominator there. And if that happens, you can basically write it like that. So I'm going to use that, and x to the n, this little bracket, I think I can actually write it as 1 plus, you have dx, and you already know that dx is very small value, right? So dx is already small, so I can use this. So it's going to be n dx by x. All right, great, it's working just well for me. Fine. So far so good. Let's continue. So f dash of x is equal to, I'll just multiply it inside, so x to the n plus this again multiplies with that, you get x to the n into dx by x minus x to the n. This is just the numerator still, divided by what? Dx. Alright, great. Should be equal to is, I think, x to the n and x to the n, plus and minus, they get cancelled, and here I'm left with x to the n divided by x. Look at this, x to the n divided by x, that is just x to the n minus 1, right? So x to the power n minus 1 into, don't forget the n, so into dx divided by dx. Now you know what to do. Dx gone, and you're left with n into x to the power n minus 1. I think we clearly got what we were expecting to get, this right here. So f dash of x to the power n is n into x to the power n minus 1, and that's how it goes. And and in fact, you must be, if you were into this, you must be actually a little enthusiastic by now, because you can in fact use the first principle to evaluate any of the functions that is given to you in the table. Like d by dx, I mean the derivative of sine x, you can do it using the first principle. The derivative of cos x, you can do it. Derivative of tan x, you can do it. Derivative of log x, yes. Derivative of e to the power x, yes, and so on. The list never ends. The first principle can actually answer all the derivatives. But yeah, you will not be. Will you wait a second now? Will you actually be doing all this for every time you get every time you get x to the end? No. It's always not always. It's only normal that you remember this and anything else that your teacher mentions in that little table of derivatives. But yeah, that's how you evaluate them. Now I think this convinces you that how to find the derivative. And this right here, derivative, like I said once again, is like, what's the meaning of derivative? It's basically slope of the function at that given point right there. Okay, yeah, more on first principles in the next video.